Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Hello, homie. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How is it going, my spiritual running buddy, my self-growth junkie friend? How are you doing? Welcome back. And if this is one of the first times or the tippy top first time you are listening to this show, hello, big hug and squeeze to you. Welcome. My name is Talia Joy. I'm an intuitive, I'm a manifestation mentor, I'm an awakening guide, and that is exactly what I help you do, to navigate this awakening journey, to help you manifest everything that you see in your mind's eye. I help you to grow through what you go through, to heal, to reprogram, to release all those limiting beliefs and all that other junk that gets in the way, which is what we're talking about today, self-sabotage. We'll go deeper into that. But that is exactly what I help you do, is to fulfill your purpose, why you came here, not just for a career, although I do support entrepreneurs in their purpose-filled businesses, but it's the purpose of being an overcomer, of a transformer. It sounds like the 90s or 80s kids show. But to be the person who truly overcomes what you've been through, the obstacles, the setbacks, the hard upbringing, the hard, first 20 years of your life and all that did, and really healing and overcoming and rising through that to manifest a beautiful, magical life. So as I say within that, we talk about the law of attraction, manifestation, the awakening journey, tuning into your intuition, healing the subconscious limiting beliefs, healing the inner child, doing all these things that we need to do that really brings us into this place of magnetism and peace and really the life that you signed up for. So welcome. I'm so excited you're here. As I mentioned, today we are talking about self-sabotage, and this is something that we all deal with. So I am here today to remove the shame, remove the stigma, the judgment that you may have around self-sabotage toward yourself, toward just the term, because right? We're going to really reframe it today. And I'm going to give you also a 4-step process to move through it, to really start to decode why you may be doing the things you're doing and how it's creeping up and what's really going on. So I'm excited for that. You can stay tuned in the episode for the 4-step process. And I'm just really going to do what I do best, is reframe, have you understand from an energetic, from a spiritual, from a growth perspective, what is actually going on when we're self-sabotaging. So as much as self-sabotage is a heavy topic, I'm excited to get into it today because it is a reframe that we all need, because we all deal with it. So drop your shoulders. It's definitely not just you. It is everybody. The people you see, online, or big successful gurus, or people in your field, or productive, friends and, successful people you see in whatever way, they also deal with self-sabotage, have dealt with self-sabotage. It's just that they probably understand what it actually is and how to move through it rather than just getting stuck in it. So that's what we're talking about today. Super excited for that. Before I launch into that, I want to share with you guys, oh my goodness, the shift, the self-growth weekend. We have seekers signing up. We've got you guys piling in and joining. I am putting together the packages that you're going to get in the mail. They may or may not include like crystals and things to burn during the ceremony. No, not that kind of stuff to burn. It is legal here in BC, but that's not what I'm talking about. I am sending out these packages that will support you and materials to bring into the self-growth weekend. So if you have not heard about this, or you haven't heard very much about it, it is called The Shift. It's a 2-day self-growth weekend, as I'm saying, a space for transformation. We are going to spend 2 full days together on April 20th and 21st, and it's going to combine workshops with practices we're going to do on the spot together, meditations, ceremonies. It is going to be incredible. I'm so excited with all the material that's been flowing through me from my spirit team and just really guiding the way on what we need. And actually, self-sabotage has started coming in as I've been planning this and going through how these days are going to flow. Spirit kept showing me that self-sabotage is something that needs to be addressed and talked about. So we're actually going to do some workshopping around it. We're going to clear some stuff on that weekend to really have you not be a victim of self-sabotage anymore. So if you're digging everything I'm talking about today, the shift weekend will take it to the next level. We'll implement it real time. We'll have you move through it. So this weekend is all about coming in a caterpillar that knows that you are truly a butterfly. You're in that transformation. You're ready to undergo it. And you want to come out feeling free, feeling liberated, feeling clear, feeling like you're no longer in your own way. You're excited for the future. You're clear on what you need to do. The shift is for you. So we're going to talk about things like self-sabotage, as I mentioned, also creating sacred boundaries. We're going to do more releasing on day one and kind of excavating anything that has been coming up that's stopping you from fearlessly stepping into your next level. And then day two is more about the embodiment and the solidifying it in our cells. We are going to do some really fun exercises, and it's a self-growth weekend and it is digital. So we're bringing retreat vibes to your home so that you lock yourself in your room or your basement if it's vibey, or wherever you need to go, and set up your space and say, sweetie, kids, whoever's in your life, friend, roommate, I'm going in, don't bug me. You may hear some chanting, you may hear some mad writing in your journal, but do not bother me. I'm going in a caterpillar. I'm coming out a butterfly. This weekend is for you. I even have meal recommendations I'm sending out and playlists, and I've got you covered. I am taking all of the retreat vibes and putting it into a 2-day digital retreat, and it's going to be powerful. So April 20th and 21st, the link is below. You can check it out if it nudges at you. At the time of putting this episode out, we are in the early bird period for just a few more days, and this is where you can save $111. We also have a payment plan so that you can get in at a very low investment. There's also a VIP upgrade for those of you that are the upgrade type people, and I cannot wait to spend this weekend with you. So you can check the sales page, the link below for all the deets, and that is that. What I also wanted to say before we launch into today is something that really helps with self-sabotage, and we're going to get into it, is, staying in the practice and continuing to move forward even when we get knocked off. I'm going to talk about a personal story of lately how I quote unquote self-sabotaged myself. I self-sabotaged myself. You get it. And what really helps is coming back to the practice, coming back as soon as you get knocked off, coming back. So if you are that person that you're looking to integrate the work in your everyday life, and maybe you're not ready for a big event or one-on-one mentorship, or maybe you are and you just want to sample all the platters and really do the work and really get this transformation in this time of your life, I really recommend checking out On the Path, which is my other podcast, my other show that is devoted to integrating the work week by week, step by step, really broken down, as well as you have access to my entire methodology in audio podcast format. So it's a subscription community at the time of recording and releasing this episode. It's $27 a month. You're getting weekly assignments, monthly challenges, and most weeks you're getting more than one episode as well. I do deep dives into certain topics that you ask for. I take questions from the community. And as I said, the first whole bunch of episodes, 20 plus episodes of the show, is my signature methodology. So you start from activating the authentic self, what that means, into healing, into reprogramming, into manifestation and the manifestation formula, quantum manifestation, manifesting big things, living on the path, meaning living this work. I really have you covered from beginning to end, plus these weekly episodes. So if you're looking for something like that to help you integrate, there's meditations there's journal prompts, there's, the processes and the tools and the trainings as I'm talking about, plus the more not casual, but weekly assignments. That is like, this week, this is what we're focusing on to move the needle forward. This week, this is now what we're focusing on. This is for you. So it's On the Path, private podcast. The link for that as well is below. Okay. Let's dive into self-sabotage. So the very first thing I want to say is that self-sabotage is not what you think. Most of us think, or have been fed, or have been influenced by society and judgments and egos and all the things. Most of us think that self-sabotage is something about being weak, something about not having willpower, something about not being very motivated compared to other people, and something about like, I just can't, it's too hard. And it, again, weakness, right? So if somebody is constantly self-sabotaging, you may even have a judgment, and this is the space to be honest within your own mind. You even might have a judgment that that person is weak. So say you're really into health, and health is something that you've been really devoted to, or maybe it's fitness, and it's easy. And then you hear someone be like, oh, I try to work out, but like, I just can't. And the other day it was raining, and so I didn't go to the gym. And you just hear sort of self-sabotagey. It's easy to be like, come on, get your shit together, get devoted, put in some energy, commit to yourself, come on. But then when it comes to an area of life for you, like maybe it's alcohol or it's numbing on your phone, and you struggle to not numb or, self-sabotage, and we're going to get into what that means and how it shows up. But if you do that kind of thing, and then someone else could look at you and be like, come on, it's easy to just not drink. Like drinking makes it worse. You're not actually healing anything. And you're going, yeah, but it's just hard at the end of the day not to have a glass of wine, right? So whatever it is for you, let's just all acknowledge that we all have areas of our life that we might feel like we're weaker than other people, or we don't have motivation, or we don't have the willpower that it takes with diet, with positivity. Maybe it's your self-care practice. Maybe it's nutrition. Maybe it's your meditation practice, right? Someone else is like, I'm on day 40 of meditating. And you're like, oh God, I've meditated twice in that time. And I really wish, like, they are so much stronger than you. You want to think about that. I'm not saying that at you. This is the way our brain works though, right? Like, ooh, they have something I don't. So this is the first thing we're going to break down. That is bullshit. Everybody has access to the same amount of willpower / motivation / inspiration / energy that everybody else does when it comes to it from a bigger perspective. So some people look really driven, and it feels like they've always been driven, or being driven comes easily to them, whereas somebody else, maybe even as a kid, they weren't as driven. They were more quote unquote lazy or whatever. I still believe that everybody has the capability of doing whatever they want, being as committed or not committed, having a dark side, having a sneaky side, not having a sneaky side. Like everybody has the same, in some ways, human blueprint, meaning we definitely did not all grow up the same. That is definitely some people had disadvantages that other people absolutely did not. But what I mean is from an even higher perspective, we're all humans. We all have like this 24-hour clock that we go by, this day, that we all have the same amount of time. We all have a brain. And as I go through this, I'll see if maybe spirit wants to say like some people's brain work different, because some people's brain absolutely does work different. But when it comes to self-sabotage, when it comes to being driven, I truly do believe that when you're passionate about something, especially you listening, you have the capability of going full in. It might be redecorating or painting your house, or it might be talking to a friend or writing a book or, exercise or whatever else. You have the full-on capability of, when something's really important to you, of being very devoted. And this is the thing, is when we have a clear channel, we don't feel the need to sabotage. When we have a clear channel between where we are and where we're going, there's not a bunch of stuff and limiting beliefs in the way. We become that clear channel. So for example, maybe you all of a sudden remembered or got re-inspired to paint. So you go and you buy all these acrylics, and it's not about a business or it's not about anything else. It's just painting for the love of painting. And you buy all these canvases. Sounds like my dream life. And you just have a day and you're going, and you're barely eating, or you stop for one quick break and you're back in. And, that didn't, if someone said, wow, that took a lot of work, like, how did you gather the strength to do that? You'd be like, oh my God, it was so fun. And like, once I got started, I couldn't stop. That's because between you and painting on a canvas, there isn't a whole bunch of limiting beliefs, and it's not about your worthiness, and it's not about all these other things. It's just like, I wanted to, it was fun. That's what I mean by a clear channel. There's not a bunch of energy like blocking it or bunging up the airways. put a pin in that for just a second. I'll get back to that. But what I really want to, come back to is, why would we self-sabotage? So we cleared that it's nothing to do with motivation. I'll tell you what it is to do with. But when you think about it even simpler, to self-sabotage, to sabotage the self. Why would we do this? It's like putting poison in your own drink. It's like purposely tripping yourself when you're in a marathon. Why would you sabotage yourself? Like, just from a higher perspective. Like, I feel like somebody who maybe grew up in like a more tribal, less sort of like westernized type society, maybe like secluded tribes in New Zealand or Africa or something. Like, I almost feel like there would be a place where the concept of self-sabotage almost doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you poison your own drink? Like, that literally makes no sense. This is why we know it's not something that is surface level. Like, if you were strong enough, you would just do it. Because if you care about how you feel, if you deeply love yourself and support yourself, you would never literally hold yourself back. It's like you're saying to yourself, I'm going to go for a run every day. And then you hide your own running shoes. So you're going like, where are my running shoes? Like, oh, I can't run without my running shoes because my knee will hurt or whatever. And you're like, hey, I hid her running shoes so she can't go on a walk. Like, it's actually quite ridiculous when you think about it like that. But then when it comes to us going, health is really important to me, and then I blink for 8 seconds and all of a sudden I'm eating a whole bag of chips or a whole cake, it can seem like I can't, like, this is just what I do. But when you think about it bigger, like, why would we sabotage our own best interest, right? And if there was a friend that did that was hiding your running shoes and stealing from your wallet when you left her or him alone in your house, or poisoning your drink, or sprinkling trans fats on your food, like, why would you? I'm just kidding. I don't think you can do that. Sprinkling like canola oil. This'll get her. I would hope that you wouldn't put up with that. If a friend was following you around, sabotaging you, you start dating someone new and then they're like texting them, like trying to steal them away. Like, really, you wouldn't be their friend for very long. But we do this to ourselves. So let's break down self-sabotage even more. I'm going to blow your mind here for a second. Self-sabotage is actually self-abandonment. Self-sabotage is, in your brain, a self-protection mechanism. So in energy and in healing and energetics and your journey of transformation, self-sabotage is self-abandonment. So if you self-sabotage any area of your life, chances are you experienced abandonment when you were a child. This is how inner child work works, or healing emotional wounds, healing trauma, shadow work. Like, it all does this flip-floppy thing where you experienced abandonment in some form. A teacher, a parent, a caregiver, someone you loved wasn't there consistently emotionally for you. Sometimes I've had many clients where, unfortunately, one of their parents was gone. They walked away. A parent may have passed away. A parent may have been non-present emotionally. Maybe they were even working constantly as a single parent, and they didn't have enough emotional resource to give you all the attention you needed. Maybe you were the youngest sibling, or maybe a baby came along after you and the attention got taken away. There's many, many ways that we accumulate or experience the abandonment wound. Physical, emotional, it could be these things I'm talking about where something's taken from you, attention is taken from you, and you experience what feels like abandonment in either, as I say, emotionally or physically. So when you see this, the other flip side to self-sabotage is you could also have witnessed one of your parents self-sabotaging / self-abandoning, which is also very common in all of this. You maybe had both. So you maybe witnessed a mom or a dad that constantly self-sabotaged, or, didn't live up to their potential, or snuffed out their light, or didn't put their needs first, or had that martyr energy of like never looking after themselves and kind of either being resentful about it or just over giving, or, again, when we get into healing, and we will talk about this in the shift more in depth for your specific life. But when we get into this work, it's just the acknowledgement of, in some way, you probably experienced abandonment if you self-sabotage currently. So you experience that. And basically how that translates in your brain is that I am not worth showing up for. I know, right? It's deep. So self-sabotage is actually a form of self-abandonment because you weren't taught how to fully and completely, unconditionally love and show up for yourself. And if you're relating to this, me too, as well as almost every other human. And I want to say that I work with all sorts of clients. And over all these years, I've worked with so many clients one-on-one and intimately that I see that clients that are millionaires or own, successful companies, businesses, all the way to, clients who are, trying to juggle it all with multiple kids, and they have a job and a career and a husband, and, they're both, doing their domestic thing, to, clients that are like 18, 19, figuring out what they want to do in this life, healing through the stuff they've been through. I have had so many different types of people. I even have a client who is in her 70s, and we all have experienced this similar thing. So again, another layer of shame, another layer of judgment removed. If you experience that, most of us have in some way or another. So where this leaves us is that if we were never taught how to fully show up for ourselves, this is the journey of learning how to show up for yourself. So along the way, there's going to be self-abandoning or self-sabotaging things that try to come in because it's an indication of something more. So self-sabotage is not about being weak. It's not about motivation. It's a form of self-abandonment, and it's a form of self-protection, as I mentioned a minute ago. So in the brain, there's a thing called self-preservation, and the human is always trying to come back to homeostasis, to come back to center. We don't want to be unsafe, unprotected, basically unsafe. The brain registers things as safe or not safe. So we're always trying to self-protect. We're always trying to self-preserve. So how this leads to this stuff is your subconscious brain, based on your beliefs, your experiences and your beliefs. The experiences cause the beliefs. In your subconscious brain, you have certain beliefs, and this is like a thermostat. So as soon as you start getting more successful than you've ever been, or try to grow into new territories, which is literally what your life is, you, like me, a self-growth human here on this awakening journey, it's one constant evolution. So every time you get happier, healthier, bigger ideas, more bravery than what you've been able to experience before, the self-preservation mechanism kicks in. So like a thermostat, if the room starts getting too cold, the thermostat kicks in to warm it up. And maybe if it started getting too warm, maybe an air conditioning would kick in or something like that. Your thermostat is set to 18 degrees or whatever. I'm Celsius. I don't know what it is in your house, but it's set to some sort of degrees. Your inner thermostat is set to safety. So anytime, as I say, you try to branch out of that and go into new territory, self-preservation mechanisms kick in and quote unquote keep you safe. This is when people will say keep you small, because they're keeping you where you're at. The mechanism in your subconscious brain is keeping you where you're at versus allowing yourself to grow. That's why when we say like, I'm a millionaire and I could be a millionaire by tomorrow, there's so much resistance that comes up. So many like mechanisms click in going, that's not true. That's not safe. You've never done that before. Look at your current income. And it starts throwing numbers and stats and doubts and fears. That is literally your thermostat kicking in, which is the same thing that's happening with self-sabotage. So self-sabotage is self-abandonment. It's self-protection, but it's also a fear of either failure or success. And so we get into uncharted territories. Our brain's like, not safe. We could fail or we could succeed, which requires a lot of us. I'll get to that in a second. We often fear success even more than we fear failure, which is fucked up, right? Because we're all going like, I want success. But when we try something new, say you want to start becoming healthier, your brain goes like, but we don't know how to We don't know how to do that. We don't know what life is going to look like. What if it's hard? What if it's difficult? It's going to push us into new territories, to not have certain coping strategies or to be committed and devoted to our health or our fitness or whatever. So it kicks in a mechanism to try to get you to stop doing that, because it's like, whoa, 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 you're growing outside the box. You're trying to leave the safe little hub of homeostasis and where you currently are. So in some ways, you can actually predict and expect self-sabotage to try to come in every time you're growing into your next level. This is why when we reframe it, it doesn't have to be something we're stuck in. It actually becomes this like, of course I'm experiencing triggers, worries, fears because I'm growing. I'm pushing my growth edge. And once we actually know what to do with the behavior, then we can move through it to the other side. And it becomes a thing that we look back and go, yeah, as I was getting ready to create my business, or as I was becoming brave enough to do this, to, move into my next level, all my stuff started coming up. And I could literally sit here chatting with you and say that. I have had so much stuff coming up the last couple months because of my massive up level that I'm going through. And so I'm going to share here a moment where I have had self-sabotage, but I'm going to also share what I did. And then of course, this 4-step process, we're going to go deeper. So lately I've shared on the podcast, I created a 30-day yoga challenge just within myself. I wanted to get on my mat every day for 30 days. So sounds great, right? I started, I think it was February 20th, 2024. And so I'm rocking along. I get sick almost immediately. Spiritual flu is another thing I'm going to talk about here on the podcast. I've been talking about it on Instagram. I had a reel that like blew up for you guys listening. But anyways, I got sick and it was a big test in my devotion. So I'm like, you know what? I created this challenge and I could do like a chill yin yoga. I could do like a stretching on the floor. I don't have to do like a vigorous flow to get my gold stars. So I was adjusting and I had days where I was feeling really bad, and it was just like 6 minutes of like laying and stretching and doing very gentle movement on my mat to just show up for myself, no matter what, continue showing up. So I was doing really good. I don't remember what day, but about day 16 or so, I had done all of them. And then one day, my daughter had dance competitions and we were out early in the morning. We drove out of town. I was in that all day, came home late. I didn't even think about it. So the next day, I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I didn't do yoga yesterday. Fuck, that's okay. That's all right. It was innocent. This is life, right? Sometimes you're really busy and you don't get the chance to do it. It's fine. Just keep on going. So I kept on going and it was about a week more solid. And then I got really sick. I'm now feeling really good. Yay. But I've had this ongoing thing that went from like a flu, and then it felt like it was in my chest, and then it went into my throat and my tongue was all swollen. Sorry, it's gross, but like my throat was sore and I'm gargling with salt water and that went down. And then it turned into a head cold, and like literally over like a month, it just kept morphing and changing and blech. So over this whole time, I'm not feeling great. And then it flared up into a head cold and a pounding headache and my throat sore. And one day I just didn't do it. I don't remember if I even thought about it or kind of went like, oh, I'll do yoga later. Whatever it was, I just didn't do it. The next day again, I was in bed most of the day, didn't do it. All of a sudden I realized it was like 3rd day in, and I was like, fuck, I haven't done it for 2 days. And then the shame starts coming in. Like, why am I sabotaging myself? Like, I can do it yin, I'm starting to slip on the slippery slope. I'm starting to lose my quote unquote motivation or determination. This is probably honestly refreshing for you because this is how it works. So then that 3rd day, I slipped into kind of like a fuck it, whatever. And I didn't think the words failure because I really don't think in those terms, but I just thought like, whatever. I've now missed 2 days. Like I'm feeling miserable. Who cares? And I let myself miss a 3rd day. So the 4th day I wake up and I'm like, Talia, and I'm looking at my calendar. I've got all these hearts on all the days I've done, and it's now edging up on the 30 days. And I've done more than 20 of them out of 30. I've freaking rocked this. But I'm looking at those days, and I started noticing that 3rd day was now just the voice of sabotage. It was the fuck it voice. The who cares? You've already messed up. You've already failed, quote unquote, even though in the beginning I said to myself, there's no failing. The point here is to show up more. But as soon as that creepy voice comes in, not creepy, but creeps in, And all of a sudden it's whispering about failure. And I kind of just go, fuck it. I don't work out on that third day. And by the fourth day I wake up, I realize this. And I realize that darker voice. This wasn't just I was busy. This wasn't just I had a really sick day and I didn't. That was the fuck it voice. That third day, that was the gremlin voice, the inner critic, the drill sergeant, the ego going like, give up. You've already failed. So what did I do on that fourth day? I did yoga and I put it on my thing and I put it on my calendar and I said to myself, I'm going to lovingly give myself a 5-day extension. I'm going to go 35 days now and I'm just going to get back on the horse and I'm just going to do it because this is the moment. It's 11:11 here right now. This is the moment where I either say fuck it for the rest and I truly do kind of abandon ship, or I just get back on. And if I just get back on and keep going, by the time it gets to, yes, my 35 days, but 40, 50, 60, in 2 months from now, what is going to be more important? That I missed those few days and then just gave up? Like, couldn't it have been overcome, rectified, remedied if I just got back on the horse? And that's how we start to heal self-sabotage, is I didn't blame myself. I didn't shame myself. Once I realized what was going on, there's no shame in my life. I do not shame myself anymore. It's a bottom line because I care about how I feel. And I wouldn't allow somebody else to talk to me like that. So I just refused. I didn't fail. I'm not shaming myself. I'm getting back on. And now it's been like 3 or 4 days since the days I was off and crumbling that I've been back on. And yesterday's practice was so solid. One day I even did a yoga and then I did a Pilates. Like I was feeling stronger. My planks were stronger. My chaturangas were stronger. And I'm like, you know what? This is the moment where we choose to slip into the darkness, back into our shadow, or we choose to rise into the light and just keep going. So I wanted to share that about a very recent time where quote unquote self-sabotage came in. But I want to tell you something. I am rising right now. I am shedding. My Instagram reels are blowing up. I have such good ideas coming. Like I'm seeing all of this forward momentum in so many different ways, people reaching out to me to be on their podcast. And I'm just seeing all of this forward momentum. My notifications on my phone are like, this money's coming in. You received a payment. Over 10,000 people liked your reel, or viewed your reel. I'm seeing in every area of my life, I know I just mentioned a lot of businessy things, but I'm seeing results of forward momentum. So of course I'm going to come in and sabotage it because I'm coming into new territory and it's scary. I'm scared of success and I'm scared of failure and I'm a human with a brain that's trying to find safety. So of course I'm going to start crunching myself out. And even on those 3 or 4 days, I actually noticed that I was more wanting sort of less quality food and just kind of in crunch mode. And I rose out of it and now I'm back. And now this is what truly creates momentum. So out of my story time, back into what we're talking about and the applicable, how to really start to wrap this in a bow. So when we become uncomfortable with the current level of growth that's going on deep down, when literally the subconscious mind, the beliefs that are in there, the wounding that's in there is smaller than where we're headed, the thermostat kicks in and tries to knock us down. So self-sabotage can look like numbing yourself, being on your phone more, wanting to drink more, numb with food, numb with Netflix, beyond just normal relaxation. This feels good. It's like that actually numbing yourself. Self-sabotage can also come when we almost allow ourselves, for me anyway, to get overstimulated. Like I'm trying to do something and I've also got a podcast playing as I'm trying to write this thing and I start to go I can't focus on anything. It's like I get overstimulated and overwhelmed. That is a form of self-sabotage. I'm doing that to myself, even though it doesn't feel good and it doesn't help me be productive. It could be avoiding paying bills, avoiding going live in your business, avoiding putting things out there, avoiding the conversation, avoiding making change. The next Monday mentality. It's always next Monday, right? That avoiding is self-sabotaging. That avoiding of meditating or eating well or whatever else. There's also procrastination, which is very similar to meditating. It's not similar to avoiding. Procrastination is a way of avoiding, right? Where we're putting it off. We're putting it off. Tomorrow I'll do it. Next week I'll do it. Next Monday I'll do it. It could be self-sabotage, can also be reacting. So maybe I put something out in my business and not a lot of people sign up, and I react and I go into an emotional fit. I'm actually sabotaging my success, because I could see that as like, okay, information, something didn't work. Was it the marketing? Was it the topic? Was it the price? Was it that I didn't promote it very much? Like, let's look at this like a business so we can move forward. Instead, I might emotionally react and be like, I'm not meant for this. Never mind. I'm going to shut down shop. Nobody wants what I have. Like, I could go into that whole story. That's a self-sabotage mechanism. It's also when we're in overly controlling, where we're trying to hyper control everything and worry about everything and anxiously try to sort out all the details and be obsessed with like how we're going to do it and how we're going to do it, which often leads to procrastination because we want to wait until we know how. And, that's a form of self-sabotage. Or overly controlling the discomfort is a form of self-sabotage. So there's lots of ways that we can sabotage. And this is literally because our subconscious brain has not got to know the new reality that we want. So it doesn't know you yet as a super devoted, productive, I don't mean in general, but like in this area of life. For me with yoga, my subconscious brain doesn't know me to literally do yoga every day for 30 days. So it is going to come in and try to sabotage, to be like, no. You need to be the person I know you to be. You need to fit the identity that I have for you deep, 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 deep down. So it's through rewriting the subconscious that we actually are able to move through self-sabotage. So self-sabotage is not about willpower or motivation. It's an asking for healing. It's an asking for transformation. It's an asking for rewriting the subconscious. So what we are going to do in this 4-step process is I want you to start to ask yourself right now, especially if there's an area of life that there's something you want to manifest or the area you self-sabotage, and just asking yourself without shame, without guilt, without judgment, how am I self-sabotaging right now? And if you have the space, thinking about it in your car or writing it down if you can, to go, how do I numb, avoid, procrastinate, control, react? How am I suffocating the life out of my dreams or completely avoiding my dreams? Maybe it's binge eating or secretly doing something that sabotages your success, or it's this procrastination, as I say, all the examples. So how are you self-sabotaging? Getting to know your own patterns is very, very beneficial. How do I do that? Send love and compassion to yourself first and foremost, and throughout every single step. No judgment. Pressure got you here. So we don't pressure ourselves. We don't say, just do it. That's what most people say, right? Oh, I'm wanting to get healthier, but every night I find myself eating a bag of chips. Someone might go, well, just don't do that. If you cared enough, you wouldn't do that. That's not true. It's an inner coping strategy. It's an inner success capper mechanism. It's not your fault. And we're going to go about it a totally different way. It's not just don't do it, okay? So if anybody says, just don't do it, that's bullshit. That's not how it works, because you could be like, yeah, if it was that easy, I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't want to be doing this, right? So the first thing is, how do I self-sabotage? The second, and this is going to require a little bit of work on your part, or at least being aware of. And if you join us in the shift, I'm going to take you through this step by step. But why? So the second question is, why am I doing this? Number one, what is the narrative and whose voice is that? Yeah. So what is the narrative? Like, fuck it. I can't be healthy anyway. It's too hard. With me with yoga, the narrative was like, you've already screwed up. There's no point. And whose voice is that? I feel like for me, it's not one of my parents, but I feel like it's kind of society. Like all or nothing thinking, right? If you're not 100% in, you failed. I think that's where I actually didn't think about it in the moment because it just happened a couple days ago. But I think that narrative was like, you've already screwed up. What's the point? And that narrative is kind of coming from the general society of that all or nothing. So what is the narrative and whose voice is it? Is it mom, dad, critic, an ex? Is it, society with me? Like, as I said, with me. So the third step, so first is, how am I sabotaging? Identifying the behaviors with love and compassion. Second is, what's the narrative? Whose voice is that? Why? And third is an extension on why. What am I afraid of? And what am I looking for in this behavior? And so because this is just one episode and I'm trying to keep them shorter, it's not working clearly. I can't go too much deeper in, but I do really recommend joining us in the shift. But in this, what am I afraid of and what am I looking for? So if I was wanting to get healthier and then I end up eating a bag of chips every night and I consider that self-sabotage, what am I afraid of is probably success in that degree. And I've dealt with this with many clients, in myself, in my eating disorder and reprogramming journey. And then what am I looking for in this behavior? I would say with food, often we're looking for comfort. We're looking to just fucking chill and not be so like hard on ourselves. Like all the rules become draining. All the you can't have carbs, you can't have this becomes draining. So we're almost looking for the opposite. We're looking for comfort. We're looking for relief in that type of situation. It's going to be different for you depending on the situation, but asking like, what am I afraid of? And I might even say like being healthy requires me to never eat the food I want. So I'm just looking for fucking comfort and just to let go and just enjoy. I'm just looking to enjoy. That might be what comes up for some people. What am I afraid of? It could be success. It could be failure. I'm afraid that if I show up in my business, I'm going to be laughed at. I'm going to fail. Nobody's going to buy. I'm going to be a failure. And then my dad or my mom's going to say, see, I told you so. You should have gone to law school. Like this stuff does go deep, but you want to really ask yourself, and what am I looking for in this behavior? If I'm numbing on my phone, I'm just looking to clock out. I'm looking for relief. I'm looking for pleasure. I'm looking for numb, right? Which is the opposite of what? Pressure, go, go, go. Maybe I'm just looking to relax. So I really want you to ask for yourself this, because number 4 is how can I do that? How can I give myself that? So if I'm eating the chips at night, just looking to relax and for comfort, instead of saying to myself, don't eat the chips, I go, okay, how can I bring in more relaxation and comfort in my life? Because literally that's what it is maybe I'm overscheduled, I'm too busy, I'm, go, 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 my nervous system's a wreck, and I'm just looking to chill. So if you're drinking or numbing or disassociating or procrastinating because you're just looking to chill, to relax, you need more downtime in your life. You're on the verge of burnout. You need to go out in nature more. And then what I have found over and over and over is in that circumstance, if I give myself more chill time, more relaxation time, by the time it gets to the night, I don't need more to relax. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's watching a show. Maybe it's sitting by the fire, conversation with my husband. That's enough to relax. And maybe I have a bath, right? What are you actually looking for? Because the chips or the phone may not give that to you. Or sometimes with myself, I really like to watch mini YouTube documentaries and stuff on varying things. So sometimes I'll get into one and I think should I be doing this right now? I could be spending 20 minutes doing something else. I'm like, no, I just want to chill. So I take the shame off of it and go, okay, let's watch it. Set up the phone or the laptop or whatever, settle in with a blankie and just watch your show. Don't put the shame, because I'm just looking to chill. So instead of even looking at these things as self-sabotage, starting to ask ourselves, what am I really looking for in this behavior? I'm looking to relax. I'm looking to chill. Okay, how can you do that? Can you create a weekend for yourself? Ahem, the shift. No, but can you create chill time, less busy time? Can you go away for a day or an overnight, or in the day go for a walk, or after work debrief? Maybe if you're going straight from work and then you spend hours on your phone and you think you could be doing more productive things, maybe from work, go on a walk first. Don't say we're not going to do the phone. Don't say I'm not going to eat the chips. That has the reverse effect. This is why I could keep going on and on. There's so many layers to this, but I am going to start to wrap it up here. We really do want to look at, why am I doing this? Where's the pressure, and how can we alleviate some of that pressure? So the 4 steps again is, number 1, how do I self-sabotage? Just get to know your patterns. Okay, it's drinking, it's numbing, it's, whatever else. Avoiding. Number 2, what's the narrative? Whose voice is that? What's the narrative going through my head? Is it fuck it? Is it I just want some time? Is it, whatever? What is the narrative and whose voice is it? If you can identify that, it really helps. Often it's a parent, or like I said with one of mine, how it used to be just like, fuck it. It's more society. So number 3 is, what am I afraid of? What am I really afraid of here? And what am I looking for in this behavior? What am I looking to feel by numbing, by avoiding? Maybe I'm just scared of success. Okay, that's understandable. Can I put my hand on my heart and say, like, I know you're terrified of success, and that's why you've been procrastinating, and it's okay, I've got you. Even if this quote unquote fails, even if nobody buys, we will figure it out and we will keep going, and I've got you. Or maybe you need to hire somebody in your business to help you so you're not doing it alone. You know, there's other ways to go about it other than just looking at, I always self-sabotage and I can't do it. So I hope that this helped you today, because truly this is more of an indication of healing than anything to do with your abilities, your capabilities, your motivation. You've got this. You've got the life force you need. Just start to identify how you self-sabotage, what's really going on in there, what you might be afraid of, what you're looking for when you're self-sabotaging, and then how you can create more of that in your life, what it is you're looking for. And then you won't need to sabotage anymore. And above all else, as I wrap this up, I want to leave you with, when you love and care for yourself, when you deeply love and care for yourself, you will not sabotage the things that are the most important to you. So continue on this healing journey, continue on this self-love and self-growth journey, because when you realize that you're the one coming to save you, when you realize that you're the one that gets to have your own back, above all, through everybody else that has your back or doesn't, you are that through line. When you love yourself and care about how you feel, you will not feel the need to sabotage what is most important to you. Your health, your success, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, you are worth it. So keep on this journey. You're doing such a great job. I hope this helped you today. If it did, or if you want to connect further, come and find me on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation. And I'm posting there every day, keeping it cash, sort of everyday vibes in the stories, posting lots of reels and all the good Instagram things. So come find me over there. The link for that is below as well. We will continue this conversation. And if you feel that you know somebody that suffers with self-sabotage, a fellow seeker, a light worker on the path, chances are they need to hear this reframe as well. So share the show, share this episode, show them that you love them by showing them this and starting on a new path of no longer self-sabotaging, of having shame, and more of healing and growing and moving forward. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next episode. Hey Seeker, thanks so much for tuning in. Before you go, I want to let you know about The Bedtime Ritual. This is a brand new book that I've created that is a 100-day journey of evening journal prompts. The Bedtime Ritual is a perfect tool for bringing in more intentional reflection, self-care, me time, manifestation, all in just one prompt per evening. I know you're going to love The Bedtime Ritual. The link is below and you can find it on Amazon.